Heel toe with the flow.
Hey everybody, it's Alex Dickson of Studio 722 LLC. I'm coming at you today with another episode of my podcast, Get in the Studio with Alex. Today I want to talk to you about a couple little things and, about how I run my business, maybe a couple lessons I've learned about running my business and maybe some things to kind of look out for, that I've noticed with some clients, at least in my local area, but I'm sure you've run into them too. But anyway, why don't we start off with talking about the headache? Sometimes a client can be a headache of any magnitude or proportion. Usually it has to do with them thinking they're a know-it-all, but the actual truth is they're more of a know-nothing at all, to a certain extent anyway. I know that sounds mean, but, what it comes down to is trying to divide your role as the engineer from their role as the artist. You have to kind of establish that boundary, of this goes for artists too. It's like you both have to establish that boundary of who has what job. Now, the artist can suggest, can talk about like, oh, this is what I'm after. But by the same token, the artist has to let the engineer do the job of getting that sound that the artist is after. So, it's pretty straightforward for the most part. You're paying me to do the job to get you the sound you want, and I know how to get you there, so you got to kind of let me do my job and kind of just let me breathe a little bit. But also, be fair, the engineer as well, be fair to the artist, if you can't do something, just let them know, saying that I don't have the tools to do X, Y, or Z, or I don't know how to do X, Y, Z, but, why don't we see if we can figure it out or figure out an alternative, but the whole thing with know-it-all clients, it can be a little bit difficult because, like I said, they're know-it-all clients, they think they know everything, they know exactly what they want, how to get it, when in actuality they're paying you to get the sound they want, and that's not a bad thing, just establish that boundary straight from the get-go and you're pretty well good. But I've had some clients in the past that were know-it-alls, that think they know how to get what sound, and it's like, but at the same time they're not great at communicating what sound they're going after, so on the engineering side, it can be a little bit of a technical jargon kind of miscommunication, because either the client doesn't know the technical jargon, or there's a miscommunication of the technical jargon, they don't, or they know it and you don't, so you got to kind of strike a balance between, who knows what and how to find the happy medium of communication. That's the hard part about it all. Another thing I want to talk about, is like some stuff I've learned in running a music studio business. These last couple years, I've actually learned quite a bit. I've learned a lot of artists have a lot of different needs, some need a calm environment. Some like to be pre-gamed and, a little bit of a little bit of, a little bit of alcohol in the system, and that's all fine and good. I'm 420 and alcohol friendly. Just don't get stupid, just be sober enough to function in the studio, so that's kind of a little bit of a rant, because I've had clients in the past come in so totally wasted that they were unable to perform, and we weren't able to turn out a good product, if any product at all, that day, But that's just kind of one of my pet peeves in the studio, just be sober enough to work, As far as my business goes, that's kind of a little bit of a rant there, but I'm pretty well learning a lot about how to do the finances of my studio and how to invest what where so I can make even more money, get more clients, and keep investing everywhere. That's the goal of any business, is to make a profit, am I right? So what I'm trying to figure out, there's some things I'm trying to figure out of, I'm still trying to learn how to balance what money comes in to my studio and how much I leave for my studio versus how much I take for me. I should probably come up with a percentage of a paycheck that I take off each project and keep the rest in the studio in the bank account. But, I'm still trying to figure that stuff out, But I've learned about some stuff that qualifies as write-offable on taxes. I should probably look into getting a CPA here pretty soon. So this way I can have help doing my taxes, getting the max amount of benefit and tax write-off so I can do my studio properly, make sure everything's filed and taxes are paid so I don't lose my ass in my business, Because homie don't want to spend 20 years in jail for missing out on taxes. That's probably the dumbest shit ever. I mean, it's like there's two things guaranteed in this world, death and taxes, and I don't want to go to jail for not paying taxes. I mean, who does? I mean, unless you're Wesley Snipes. Jab at the celebrity. But, you ever see Expendables? I don't know if it was 2 or 3 that they had Wesley Snipes come in and then they had asked him, he goes, what were you in for? He goes, and then he straight up goes, tax evasion. And it's like, I don't know if he was embarrassed to do that line or if he was just like, oh, it'll be funny. But I mean, still, regardless, it was a great line for the movie, nonetheless. But yeah, there's so much I'm learning about running my business, trying to get efficient, trying to get scheduling, trying to get booking fees and, collect some money up front so people have skin in the game and they're more likely to come to the studio. In other words, because I've had so many clients ghost me, this last year. So it's like, I know 2020 was a difficult year, but it's like, if you're not going to come, just let me know, so this way I'm not burning up electricity for my gear to run just for you not to come, Again, that's another little rant thing, but, it's just, this episode's turning into a bitching and complaining podcast, isn't it? Holy shit. Okay, why don't we go to something a little more lighthearted, kind of what got me into audio in the first place, audio and music. I've always dabbled in audio and music and sound recording and production and, trying to figure out how to do it all on a computer. As my last episode, I kind of gave the idea of the start of Studio 722 itself, but it actually goes back a lot farther than that, my interest in music production and recording. My eldest brother, not my eldest brother, my best friend's older brother ran a studio called Knotwall. He had a rap group and studio called Knotwall, which is Lawton backwards, which is where I live, so Lawton, Oklahoma. But they were one of the top tiers around town for a while. But they inspired me, my brother, and my best friend to try and get into music, learn how to make music and stuff. But the three of us never really got anywhere with it. We never learned how to play any instruments or anything like that. But one thing I've always found interesting was the technical side of recording, the software, and learning how all that works. Because I've always had a natural knack for computers. So that's always just been one thing I've been good at. I mean, so I've always found the technical side of recording the most fun rather than actually being the one on the mic singing or playing an instrument. But I still produce beats and stuff from time to time, and I'm actually going to start writing more songs and stuff for my own projects as well as record other people. Another thing that pushed me further into wanting to learn about audio, how it's recorded and stuff, was back in junior high. There was this lesson in the physical science textbook about the Doppler effect. The effect where, like, if you hear a train coming by, it starts, it starts at a lower pitch, then it starts getting higher pitch, and then to the actual note that the train horn sounds at. And then as it goes by, it goes, wing. where it starts to trail off and then get lower and lower in pitch as well. So I learned about that, and it was just so fascinating to me how sound can flow and work like that. How sound travels through the air, how it manipulates air molecules and all that. Oh, God. So, from then on, I've always had like a fascination with audio, but of course, being in junior high and high school, being more fascinated with video games and 3D modeling and stuff, because I wanted to work in the video game industry when I was a really young kid, and I kept that dream all throughout high school, but I don't know. Something just drew me to audio and music more than 3D and art like that. But I don't know. Overall, art is just something that's interesting. The technical aspects of how to make art is interesting to me. Oh, God. I mean, there's just so much to it, so much uniqueness to everyone's take on a piece of artwork, or anyone's take on a piece of sound, perception of a given piece of anything, whether it be food, pictures, paintings, music, recorded audio, movies. Everybody has an opinion, and while opinions are like assholes, everybody's got them and they stink. But it's amazing what some opinions about something can influence just culture, politics, everything else, I mean, all you have to do is look at like a lot of the great painters of the Renaissance and how their art still lasts through today. Oh, God. I mean, there's pictures that still move people to these days, to this day. Some of the greatest painters ever lived, was Da Vinci in the Renaissance? Shit, I can't remember. I'm not an art history buff or anything like that. But the Mona Lisa, it's one of the most influential paintings of all time. And then, you kind of get amazed, a little more amazed when you learn the secrets of how it's been all these centuries that the Mona Lisa still exists, and then you learn about art restoration and, how they go and clean it up and everything, and the same thing can be done with audio, really, audio and other images and shit, but it's crazy how art it surpasses everything, But I've always been more fascinated with the technical side of art, like how something's done, and the secrets behind how to do something, that makes the magic rather than necessarily the magic itself. I mean, it's not to say that I like to ruin magic, because that's not the case. I just find learning the magic behind the magic, if that makes sense, learning the magic behind the magic is what fascinates me the most. The hows, the whys, what makes this what it is, the technical aspects of how something was created is probably the bigger interest to me than necessarily what the actual artwork is. I mean, if you're gonna put into a new skill, whether that be audio, art, music, movies, video, TV, computer building, there's so many skills out there that you could possibly come up with. I mean, it's infinite, if there's one thing I can always say is never stop learning. Golly, I feel like this episode's incoherent, but never stop learning, a skill, whether that be in the arts or the technology or any kind of field, that's important to you. And it never hurts to invest in learning for yourself, not just for yourself, but also so you can, I guess, financially gain off it, so this way you can make a living at what because there are some things that are more about what you know than who you know, but while still a lot of the creative industry is who you know, not what you know. But, I mean, like I said, you've got a bunch of different things you can do. And in my world of audio, I've had all sorts of clients. I've had the headaches, I've had the grades, I've had, just a wide range of clients, that you'd never expect, really. But I guess that's what you get with the smaller local artists. But you never know who's going to blow up into what, But yeah, I mean, just never stop learning, learn a new skill, practice it. Just make something, do something, I mean, there's just so much in this world that you can do, learn, see, just expand your horizons any way you can. Whether that be traveling, whether that be creating art, whether that be studying literature, just expand your mind, expand your horizons, expand your skills. Just make yourself, you can make yourself what you want to make yourself. You can choose how much money you want to make. You just got to put in the effort to make it, But never stop learning. Make something of yourself, I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing with my business here. I'm trying to kind of, make something of myself in this game, kind of trying to put my pieces in the right place and, move strategically, but also, kind of do a play to win kind of thing, but also just do it because I love it, But I don't know, this episode just kind of feels rambly. Okay, just to kind of recap the flow of this episode, which was just utter shit and ramble. First thing to consider, not everybody works the same way in the studio that you do. Be open to learning, be open to giving suggestions. Also, learn a new skill, practice something new every day, learn something new every day, And also, it never hurts to learn how to run a business, because that's what I'm trying to do with my studio, so it's not easy, but I'm learning more and more. I invest in education in myself quite regularly, to learn how to run a business in my studio and new techniques in audio and all that. But yeah, just make something of your life. Excuse me. But, yeah, just make yourself what you want to be. You can do anything you want, really, as long as it's legal. But, just make yourself into the person you want to be. Alrighty. Well, I don't know, I guess I'll call that good for this week. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to try to do this podcast thing regularly every Friday. No guarantees. But I think I have my release schedule ideas set for every Friday. I don't know yet. But anyway, yeah, this has been Alex Dickson of Studio 722. It was kind of fun letting loose and kind of venting a little bit today. I hope you kind of enjoyed my little rambling and my rants. Yeah. I just hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed rest. A wonderfully blessed rest of your day, week, month, whatever. So, alright. Deuces.
Heel toe with the flow. 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 Heel toe.